Welcome back to the 2022 RotoHeat rookie profile for Pitt Panthers quarterback Kenny Pickett. So Pickett was only a three-star recruit coming out of high school. He was the 33rd ranked quarterback and the 738th ranked player in his graduating class. In high school, he passed for 4,670 yards, 43 touchdowns, and showed an ability with his legs, 873 yards and 17 touchdowns. He elected to enroll at the University of Pittsburgh, where he became a four-year starter with the program. He struggled a little bit early in his career, but then showed flashes in the shortened 2020 season where he did have an opportunity to enter the NFL draft and potentially be a fourth, fifth round selection, something like that. He elected to come back to Pittsburgh, really cement his kind of legacy and boost his draft stock, which he absolutely did, ending up finishing third in the Heisman Trophy voting. He passed for 4,319 yards, had 42 passing touchdowns and 7 interceptions. He ran for an additional 241 yards and kicked in 5 rushing touchdowns on the ground. So when we look at NFL comps for a guy like Kenny Pickett, he's been compared to, and we've seen comparisons to, Joe Burrow. That may be a little bit lofty, but I look at a guy potentially like Mac Jones. I think he might fall somewhere in between the two, or potentially not quite reach that level, but we will see. As far as his 40 time is concerned, early projections see him at about a 4.75, low to mid 4.7s. It would be absolutely huge if we could see him get into the 4.6s. I think that would boost his draft stock. As far as a round prediction, he should most certainly be a first round quarterback, potentially the first quarterback taken in the NFL draft. Likely, we at RotoHeat think he's most likely going to end up being a top 15 pick. So when we're talking about the pros for a guy like Kenny Pickett, like I said earlier, he finished third in Heisman Trophy voting. The only quarterback to finish ahead of him is not draft eligible this year. So there's a very good possibility, and a lot of us at RotoHeat feel like he very well could be the highest floor quarterback in this draft class. He's a solid runner and kind of an underrated runner with the ball, showing the ability to beat linebackers to the edge while scrambling. Plus, he's athletic enough and he's fast enough to run the ball on those designed quarterback running plays. He's a guy that can go out there, make all the throws, make throws to all three levels, as well as roll out, escape a collapsing pocket to make the throws on the run with pretty decent accuracy there. He's got a live arm, he's got decent deep ball accuracy and strength to go with it. In fact, it's a bit of a blessing and a curse for Pickett, as he can tend to rely on his arm strength in tight spaces, which can lead to a few more interceptions. But we believe that if he's thrown it with velocity, it's a little bit more difficult for sure college cornerbacks to pick those balls off. We'll see how that looks at the NFL level, but if he's thrown it with velocity, it at least decreases the likelihood of that ball being picked off. As far as his footwork and his throwing mechanics, we feel like there's a very good possibility he's at the top, if not number one, in those categories as far as this draft class is concerned, especially considering the strength of his arm. He's got a nice feel for that pocket as well, showing the ability to slide with his protection, keep his eyes downfield, and make the necessary throw. As far as things that we're concerned about here at RotoHeat, there's definitely some concerns with regards to Kenny Pickett. The biggest concern at this point might be his hand size. I know that gets talked about a little bit too much, and remember the talk about Joe Burrow, how he was scrutinized for his hand size coming into the draft. His hand measured at 9 inches, while Kenny Pickett, early reports have his hands at about 8.25 inches. It is a big concern for NFL GMs and scouts. They generally look for 9.5 inches roughly. There's concerns that he may not be able to hold onto the ball consistently. It is a valid concern. So we'll see what he actually measures at the combine, but it is a concern for a few of us. As we mentioned earlier, he does tend to rely on his arm strength a little bit too much and force throws into tight spaces. Yes, it's usually with that velocity like we talked about, but he's still forcing throws, and he may not be able to get away with that at the NFL level and against NFL caliber cornerbacks. While he may be there with the highest floor, he most certainly does not have the highest ceiling in this QB class. So NFL GMs, as we've seen a lot more recently especially, they're tending to draft at a quarterback's or a player's potential ceiling. So we may see him slide come draft time. Some RotoHeat experts have expressed a bit of concern about the strength of schedule, which I can't disagree with. Me personally, I feel like the Panthers might have missed out on an opportunity to potentially be a college football playoff participant. They only lost 2 games this season by a combined 7 points, and those losses came to inferior teams, Miami, Western Michigan. If Pickett had led the Panthers to a semifinal appearance even, maybe they would have lost to Alabama just like Cincinnati did, but it would have raised his draft stock, in my opinion, if he could have led his team into the college football playoffs and had that game with a big team like an Alabama or Georgia, something along those lines. And I think that was a major missed opportunity for not only this team, but also Kenny Pickett heading into the 2022 NFL draft. I'm not so sure there's ever been a year where there's been so many different opinions and varying opinions on especially quarterback prospects besides this draft. I think people might have Kenny Pickett ranked number 1 on their rankings. They might have him ranked number 5. So head down to the comments, let us know where you might have Kenny Pickett ranked, what his strengths might be, what you see. And if you're listening to this in podcast form, if you'd like to leave us a review, that would be amazing. Don't forget to hit that like button on your way out, and we'll see you on the next video.